influence, supremacy. When we look at the map of the world and ask, how did one nation rise so far, so fast? The name America echoes like thunder. A nation that wasn't even a thought in ancient empires now commands satellites. But here's the truth. America didn't become powerful by accident. It was built, forged, and fought for, not just on battlefields, but in boardrooms, libraries, factories, and laboratories. And behind the headlines and history books lie 10 untold secrets. Secrets not just about a country, but about the mindset of greatness. The mindset you can learn from. You take them. The foundation of America's power begins not with its land, wealth, or military might, but with its ideas. Long before the skyscrapers touched the clouds or its flag reached the moon, America was built on a declaration. An idea so radical it shook the world, that all men are created equal, and they are endowed with certain unalienable rights. Life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. These words weren't just ink on paper. They were lightning in a bottle. They spoke to something timeless, something that transcended borders, languages, and cultures. While old empires were built on bloodlines and monarchies, America positioned itself as a country not of ancestry, but of ambition, not of rulers, but of dreams. This was the first and most powerful secret. They created a nation out of belief, not birthright. In a world chained by tradition, America broke free by daring to say, you don't have to be born rich, royal, or powerful. You just have to be willing to earn it. That single idea attracted millions. Immigrants didn't come for gold. They came for the chance to dream without limits. A farmer from Ireland, a shoemaker from Poland, a laborer from China. They weren't seeking handouts. They were chasing the opportunity to transform their lives through grit, work, and freedom. In America, for all its flaws, offered that possibility more than most. That philosophy, the power of possibility, became contagious. Schools were built, libraries opened, and newspapers spread ideas faster than armies could march. It wasn't the soil that made America great. It was the spirit. The belief that one person with a strong mind and an unshakable will could rise, not just for themselves, but to lift others with them. From the frontier pioneers to the factory innovators, from the civil rights marchers to the Silicon Valley coders. America was never just land, it was an engine of ideals. And here's the lesson for you. Greatness is never about where you start, it's about what you believe. If you believe in small ideas, you live a small life. But if you dare to think bigger than your surroundings, if you commit to values instead of convenience, you become unstoppable. America's first and most powerful system isn't a political system or military technology. It's that belief builds empires. And the most powerful idea of all is this: you are capable of more. That truth, once accepted, will move you further than any map, any machine, any inheritance ever could. Just like it moved a nation from rebellion to global leadership, armed with nothing but a dream. One of the greatest and least talked about secrets behind America's rise to power is how it embraced failure, not as a shameful end, but as a necessary beginning. Where many societies saw failure as a mark of disgrace, America saw it as a badge of progress. The very culture was built on the courage to try, fall, learn, and try again. This mindset turned setbacks into stepping stones, and mistakes into momentum. It's not that Americans failed less than others. In fact, they failed more, but they failed forward. Every failure carried with it a lesson that sharpened the edge of future success. Look at the Wright brothers, who dreamt of flying when the world thought it was lunacy. They didn't succeed immediately. Their early machines crashed again and again, but they kept adjusting, learning, tweaking, refining, and eventually they lifted off, not just into the air, but into history. Think about Thomas Edison. When asked how it felt to fail 1,000 times while inventing the light bulb, he famously replied, "I didn't fail 1,000 times. The light bulb was an invention with 1,000 steps." That wasn't arrogance. It was resilience. A refusal to let failure define the journey. This spirit of perseverance flowed through every industry. Entrepreneurs launched businesses that tanked. Inventors built devices that didn't work. Athletes lost, actors were rejected, and leaders faced criticism and defeat. But instead of being crushed, they used each setback as fuel. They didn't hide from their failures. They studied them. They didn't let mistakes make them smaller. They let them make them smarter. In America, failing isn't the opposite of success. Quitting is. The true tragedy isn't falling, it's never getting up. And this belief created a powerful psychological advantage. It encouraged people to take risks, to innovate, to chase big dreams, knowing that if they stumbled, it wouldn't be the end. It would simply be the beginning of a better, wiser version of themselves. This mindset didn't just build successful companies and inventions. It built a culture of resilience. And that resilience became a national character trait. In war, in crisis, in recession, America learned to absorb the hit, adjust, and move forward with greater strength. That's how they bounced back from the Great Depression, how they emerged stronger after World War II, and how they became a leader in global innovation after every challenge. For you, the message is simple. Don't fear failure. It's not your enemy, it's your mentor. Every failure carries a message, and every message is a stepping stone to mastery. Whether you want to build a business, rise above your circumstances, or become the best version of yourself, you will stumble. But you must fail forward. The people who rise to power in this world aren't the ones who avoid mistakes. They're the ones who refuse to let mistakes break them. Another rarely acknowledged reason behind America's extraordinary rise to power lies in how it transformed immigration into innovation. Unlike many nations that viewed outsiders as threats, America saw them as assets. Raw, untapped potential. It opened its doors, however imperfectly, to millions who carried with them not just hopes and hunger, but skills, culture, knowledge, and new ways of thinking. These were not just workers. They were builders of a new world, and the foundation they laid became one of the strongest in history. Think of the countless immigrants who shaped the face of American progress. Albert Einstein, the genius who reshaped physics, found refuge in America. Nikola Tesla, the brilliant inventor behind alternating current, arrived with nothing but his mind and turned into magic. Even iconic companies like Google and Intel were co-founded by immigrants or their children. America's strength was not built on sameness, but on diversity. Diversity of thought, experience, and perspective. Where other nations tried to mold everyone into one shape, America, at its best, learned to blend differences into greatness. These became one of its greatest untold secrets. When people from different worlds come together, they don't weaken a country. They strengthen it. The American system, though far from perfect, allowed people to rise based on what they could do, not just who they were. Whether someone was a refugee fleeing war or a scientist pursuing research, the opportunity to contribute, to be recognized, rewarded, and remembered was real, and this openness created a melting pot, not of confusion, but of creation. This cultural ecosystem fostered innovation. In a room filled with similar minds, you'll only get similar ideas. But in a room filled with different minds from different countries, beliefs, and experiences, the possibilities multiply. That's why breakthroughs happened at record speed, whether it was in Silicon Valley, the labs of MIT, or the music studios of New York. Greatness was born where different ideas collided and collaborated. And here's the lesson for you. Never isolate yourself from difference. Don't be threatened by people who think differently. Learn from them. Whether you're building a team, a business, or your own mindset, surround yourself with voices that challenge you, expand you, refine you. Diversity is not just about spirit. It's about spirit. The more variety in your input, the richer your output. America's rise is a testimony to this truth. The hands that built its bridges, the minds that launched its rockets, and the voices that changed its laws came from every corner of the earth. That collective effort created not just a nation, but a force of unstoppable creativity and momentum. If you want to rise in your own life, adopt this principle. Open yourself to the world. Let every person you meet be a teacher. Let every culture be a classroom. Let every difference make you deeper, wiser, and stronger. That's how nations rise, and that's how people do too. One of the most overlooked yet powerful reasons behind America's ascent to global dominance is its relentless habit of investing in the future before the future even arrived. While many nations waited for trends to become safe, for technologies to be proven, or for global approval to be granted, America took risks. It put its money, minds, and muscle into ideas that didn't yet exist in reality. This long-range vision gave the nation a lead in science, innovation, defense, and culture that the rest of the world could only try to catch up to. Take space exploration, for example. When America poured resources into NASA during the 1960s, many questioned the decision. Why spend billions to reach the moon, critics asked. But leaders didn't see a rock in the sky. They saw the future. That single investment sparked thousands of innovations we still use today: GPS, satellite TV, weather forecasting, even baby formula. The point wasn't just space. It was forward thinking. America invested where the world hadn't yet looked, and in doing so, they shaped the next era. The same happened with the internet. In the early days, no one fully understood its potential, but American universities, military institutions, and private entrepreneurs saw its promise. They didn't wait for certainty. They acted on intuition, belief, and boldness. Now, the digital world is not just a part of life. It is life. And America helped architect it before most countries could even define it. This is a deep and powerful secret. The most powerful people and nations aren't reactive. They're proactive. They don't wait for the world to change and then adapt. They make the change. They lead it. They prepare for what seems far away, so when it arrives, they're already 10 steps ahead. That mindset is not about arrogance. It's about readiness. America's success didn't come from magic. It came from preparation meeting opportunity. This same principle applies to your life. Don't wait for the right moment to prepare. Don't wait for others to validate your ideas. The future belongs to those who prepare while others sleep. Build your skill set before you need it. Study industries before they explode. Save money before the crisis hits. Make connections before you need them. Those who are ready don't just survive, they dominate. Look around today. Artificial intelligence, biotechnology, clean energy, space travel, all of these are the next frontier. And just like before, America is investing ahead of the curve. Not because they know exactly what will happen, but because they understand a powerful truth. The seeds you plant today become the trees you sit under tomorrow. So, plant your seeds. Make bold moves. Don't be afraid to invest in what the world isn't talking about yet. The people who shape the future are the ones who believed in it before it arrived. Let that be your mindset, not just for greatness, but for legacy. One of the most subtle yet incredibly powerful forces behind America's rise to global influence is its mastery of storytelling. More than weapons, wealth, or even technology, it was the narrative, the way America told its story, that shaped how the world saw it and how it saw itself. From Hollywood blockbusters to political speeches, from advertising campaigns to pop culture icons, America didn't just build infrastructure. It built an identity and then projected that identity across the globe. And in doing so, it shaped beliefs, desires, and dreams far beyond its borders. America understood early on that whoever controls the story controls the future. It wasn't enough to be strong. You had to be seen as strong. It wasn't enough to have freedom. You had to make others believe in it. This is why America's films, music, and brands became so influential. They weren't just entertainment, they were tools of influence. They told the story of heroism, of courage, of underdogs rising. They painted pictures of endless opportunity, second chances, and bold ambition. Whether it was a cowboy in the Wild West or a soldier on the battlefield, the message was clear. This is what greatness looks like. Hollywood became more than a movie industry. It became a myth-making machine. It turned ideals into icons. And people around the world began to model their lives, values, and even style based on the images America exported. Think about the global reach of brands like Nike, Apple, or Coca-Cola. They weren't just selling products. They were selling an identity, a feeling, a story that made people want to belong. This strategy wasn't limited to entertainment. Political leaders, entrepreneurs, athletes, all became part of a larger narrative. The American dream wasn't just a phrase. It became a global belief system that no matter where you start, if you work hard and believe in yourself, you can rise. This story, repeated, refined, and retold, became one of the most powerful psychological weapons in history. While other nations fought over borders, America captured hearts and minds. Here lies your personal lesson. Never underestimate the power of your own story. You may not have a film studio, but you have a voice. You have a history. You have a journey that, if told right, can inspire, influence, and ignite others. Don't just live your life. Narrate it. Choose the meaning of your struggles. Declare the purpose of your pain. Share the glory of your growth. People don't just follow power, they follow a powerful story. America rose not just because it acted powerfully, but because it told its story powerfully. So tell yours. Speak with intention. Walk with narrative. Let the world know what you stand for, because once you control your story, you begin to shape your destiny, and maybe, just maybe, the destiny of others too. The critical but often ignored reason America became so powerful lies in its ability to monetize ideas, turn an imagination into industry, and creativity into capital. While many countries focus solely on resources like oil, land, or minerals, America invested deeply in the intellectual economy. It learned how to profit from thought. The nation turned knowledge, branding, innovation, and expression into billion-dollar enterprises. Whether it was software, entertainment, education, or technology, America knew how to package an idea and sell it, not just domestically, but globally. Think about it. A song, a logo, or a digital app has no physical form, yet it can generate more money than gold. The computer operating system, once just lines of code, became the foundation of Microsoft, a company that changed the world. A mouse and a screen became the gateway to Google and Apple, both of which dominate the digital space. America didn't just consume the future, it created it, packaged it, and then sold it to the world at scale. And this happened because America taught people to value thinking as much as labor. From university campuses to garages in Silicon Valley, people were encouraged to think differently, to question the norm, challenge the existing systems, and dream up what hadn't yet been built. The result? A wave of innovation unlike anything seen before. America didn't invent the internet just to use it. It turned it into a marketplace. Social media, online shopping, cloud computing, e-learning, digital marketing, all of these multi-trillion-dollar sectors began as ideas that were monetized with vision and strategy. This economy of ideas became a superpower in itself. It didn't require armies or territories, only minds willing to solve problems and take risks. American culture celebrated not just creators, but the courage to commercialize creation. And that's the secret many miss. An idea has no value unless you know how to make it real and relevant. America mastered that process, from storytelling to branding, from invention to distribution. There's a message in this for you. Maybe you don't have a factory, a fortune, or a massive following, but you have something more powerful, a mind, a thought, a solution, a unique perspective. That, if shaped right, can become a product, a movement, a service. Don't wait for the world to recognize you. Create something so valuable that the world can't ignore you, whether it's writing, teaching, designing, programming, or organizing. Your mind is your fact. Your skill is your currency. Your imagination is your marketplace. America rose because it didn't just mine its land, it mined its minds. And you can too. The future will not belong to those who have the most things, but to those who have the most valuable ideas and the courage to bring them to life. Protect your mind, train it, sharpen it. Because in the new world, your ideas are your empire. Another hidden pillar behind America's unprecedented power is its ability to institutionalize freedom, not just as a vague idea, but as a living, working system that encouraged growth, expression, and ambition. While many nations have spoken about freedom, America embedded it into its very framework, its constitution, its legal system, and its cultural DNA. And this wasn't just moral or philosophical. It was strategic. A society where people are free to think, speak, create, and challenge is a society where innovation flourishes, talent rises, and progress accelerates. The genius wasn't merely in promising freedom, it was in protecting it through structure. Freedom of speech meant people could challenge the status quo, critique leadership, and push for change. Freedom of religion created spiritual diversity without persecution. Freedom of the press ensured that truth could surface even in times of corruption. These freedoms empowered thinkers, artists, entrepreneurs, and activists to operate without fear. And that lack of fear turned into a force of productivity the world hadn't seen before. When people are free, they build. When they are unafraid to question, they invent. When they can publish their ideas without censorship, revolutions in thought are born. And that's exactly what happened in America. The legal protection of freedom created fertile ground for creativity, rebellion, and reinvention. From the civil rights movement to the tech revolution, from jazz music to quantum physics, breakthroughs didn't come from silence. They came from the freedom to speak and to act. This system wasn't perfect, far from it. There were contradictions, struggles, and periods of deep injustice. But what made America powerful was that its system allowed correction. People could protest. Laws could be amended. Voices could rise and demand reform. That self-correcting mechanism, the ability to change from within, was revolutionary. It gave the country longevity. While rigid systems broke under pressure, America bent and adjusted life. And in doing so, it grew stronger, not weaker. This is your lesson. Freedom is fuel. If you feel trapped by fear, by the opinions of others, by past mistakes, you cut off the very power that drives success. But when you liberate your mind, when you allow yourself to think boldly, speak honestly, and act courageously, you tap into a well of strength most people never reach. You don't need a revolution to change your life. You need the courage to be free within. Create your own system where freedom isn't just an idea but a practice. Give yourself the freedom to fail, the freedom to grow, the freedom to outgrow old versions of yourself. The more liberty you give your mind, the more powerful your actions will become. America institutionalized freedom to unleash the greatness of its people. You can do the same in your own life. Because once you protect your freedom, you protect your potential. And potential, when truly free, becomes unstoppable. One of the most strategic yet rarely discussed secrets behind America's global dominance is its unparalleled mastery of alliances and influence. While most nations focused on building power through isolation or aggression, America understood that true power expands through partnership. It built strong strategic relationships, not just for survival, but for expansion, whether through trade agreements, military alliances, cultural exports, or political coalitions. America didn't try to dominate the world alone. It built a network of strength that multiplied its reach, extended its values, and secured its leadership. After World War II, while many countries were rebuilding, America initiated bold moves like the Marshall Plan, which helped revive Europe economically. This wasn't just charity, it was strategy. By helping other nations rise, America created allies, markets, and long-term partnerships. NATO, the United Nations, and dozens of bilateral agreements allowed the U.S. to have influence, not just through force, but through trust and shared goals. The secret was simple. It's better to have friends than to have subjects. Even in economics, America structured its currency, the dollar, to become the world's reserve, making it central to global trade. This wasn't an accident. It was part of a long-term plan to position American interests at the heart of global commerce. When your money is the standard, your decisions ripple across every corner of the globe. That's power that can't be seized with weapons. It must be earned through influence. Culturally, America extended its influence through education, media, and lifestyle. Foreign students came to study in U.S. institutions and returned home with American ideals. Movies, music, and brands didn't just entertain, they planted seeds of admiration, curiosity, and connection. Young people from countries across the world dressed like Americans, spoke English, and consumed American culture, not because they were forced to, but because they wanted to. That's what made American influence so powerful. It was often invited. What does this mean for you? It means that power isn't always about what you control, it's about what you connect. Your ability to build alliances in your life, your business, your dreams, will often determine how far you go. Do you build people up or tear them down? Do you bring value into relationships, or do you only seek to extract it? Are you building bridges or burning them? Success is never a solo journey. America's rise proves that. The more people you uplift, the more ideas you share, the more generosity and vision you extend to others, the more influence you gain. You don't need to be the loudest in the room. You need to be the most trusted, the most connected. So build your network, not just online, but in spirit. Collaborate, empower others. Be the kind of person others want to align with. Because in the long run, influence always outlasts intimidation. And the power that is built through alliances becomes the kind of strength the world respects and remembers. Another hidden driver of America's rise to power lies in its relentless focus on education as a weapon of national strength. While other nations saw education as a routine system of instruction, America, especially in its rise during the 20th century, viewed it as a strategic investment in global leadership. Universities became hubs of research, discovery, and innovation. Public education was scaled to reach millions, and intellectual ambition was cultivated not just in elite circles, but among everyday citizens who were taught to believe that knowledge is power and power is possibility. The American education system, despite its flaws, was designed to reward curiosity and nurture independence. Unlike rigid systems that focused only on memorization and obedience, American schools, especially at the university level, promoted critical thinking, questioning, and innovation. Students weren't just told what to think, they were encouraged to challenge ideas, explore possibilities, and create solutions. This mindset produced a generation of scientists, engineers, artists, and entrepreneurs who didn't wait for the future, they built it. Institutions like Harvard, MIT, Stanford, and countless others became global centers of thought leadership. But it wasn't just about prestigious schools. It was about a culture of learning. Libraries were opened, scholarships were given, and intellectuals were celebrated. In America, the inventor wasn't just tolerated, he was honored. The thinker wasn't just heard, he was funded. That created an ecosystem where ideas could be born and brought to life with unmatched momentum. Consider the ripple effects. Education birthed technology, and technology birthed industry. It was in American classrooms and labs that the foundations of the internet, the microchip, and the space race were laid. These weren't isolated efforts. They were fueled by a national belief that the mind is a limitless resource when it is trained, supported, and challenged. The country grew not just by building factories, but by building thinkers. There is a deep lesson here. If you want to rise, you must keep learning. Don't wait for a classroom or a degree. Every book you read, every skill you master, every mentor you listen to is a weapon in your arsenal. The world belongs to learners. When you invest in your mind, you invest in your freedom. You gain tools to solve, to adapt, to thrive, no matter the challenge. And never forget this, America became powerful because it didn't just build cities, it built minds. And that investment continues to pay dividends. If you want to lead in your own life, follow the same path. Become obsessed with learning. Never settle for yesterday's knowledge, because education doesn't just help you survive, it helps you command. When you grow intellectually, your influence expands automatically. People follow those who think clearly, who speak wisely, who act with depth. Be that person. Make your mind your empire, and your future will follow. One of the most quietly powerful forces behind America's rise is its ability to turn adversity into advantage. Unlike many nations that crumble under pressure or stagnate during crises, America developed a cultural mindset that doesn't just endure difficulty, it transforms it. This isn't a coincidence. It's a deeply ingrained national trait, the belief that every failure holds opportunity, every setback reveals strength, and every obstacle is simply a test of resolve. This resilience, this psychological toughness, has been one of the greatest, yet least discussed, engines of American power. Time and again, America has faced tremendous internal and external crises, wars, depressions, civil unrest, economic collapses, political scandals. But each time, rather than permanently weaken the nation, these challenges sparked massive reinvention. After the Great Depression came the economic boom. After World War II came global leadership. After civil rights conflicts came legislative change. After 9/11 came national unity and technological security advancements. America mastered the ability to fall forward, learning, adapting, and evolving with each blow. This wasn't about perfection. It was about mindset, a collective refusal to stay down, a refusal to be defined by failure. This bounce-back power became a superweapon. While others waited for ideal conditions, America trained itself to build in the storm. It took pain and made policy. It took struggle and created systems. It took loss and extracted lessons. That ability to alchemize adversity into power is rare and incredibly effective. This kind of national resilience inspires global respect. It shows that greatness doesn't come from having a perfect path. It comes from how you respond when the path breaks. America didn't become powerful because it avoided storms. It became powerful because it learned how to walk through them and come out stronger on the other side. Now here's the personal truth. This same principle can transform your life. Adversity is not your enemy, it's your mentor. Every failure you've had, every rejection, every breakdown contains hidden wisdom. The world isn't testing your comfort, it's testing your capacity. The difference between those who rise and those who remain stuck is not what they go through, but what they do. Let pain shape your purpose. Let setbacks sharpen your skills. Don't let losses define you. Let them refine you. The most powerful people in the world aren't those who never fell. They are those who refuse to stay fallen. America became great not because it never suffered, but because it made its suffering meaningful. So must you. Every challenge in your life is an opportunity to unlock a deeper strength, a higher version of yourself. Embrace your adversity. Stand back up. Learn fast. Move forward. Because the ability to turn adversity into advantage is more than a national secret. It's a personal superpower. And when you master it, no storm can stop your rise.